This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan. With your host, Bradley Summers. And get the latest from Alpena Community College with ACC President Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning, welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Bradley Summers, and today I have two very special guests. I have Amanda Bergeron with NEMSCA as the Boss Facilitator and Food Program Director with NEMSCA. And I also have Courtney Holmes, who is the HSCC committee member and a representative of the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan. How are you both doing today?
Great. We're great. Thanks for having us.
Well, I'm glad you're both here. And this is it's kind of a fun episode because we get to talk about some of the food assistance and some of the food resources that we have in the community. And what better representatives than you two who actually know each other, which I did not know before this show, and having you both on here to talk about some of the partnerships that we have in the community, and of course, with the food insecurity that we have in this community, and with some of our population that's struggling, whether it be our elderly or our low-income families. It's a great way to get the word out about some of the resources that we can exercise, and that we can push people in that direction to get that help.
Right.
I know you with the food bank. There's so many different things that I know that you do in the community, not just only your own job, but as representative with the HSCC committee here in the community, and of course with your own position with the food trucks and the food distributions. You want to talk a little bit about some of the food distributions that you're involved with?
Yeah, so the food distributions, those kind of came to light right before the pandemic struck. There was a group of individuals, it wasn't involved with the group yet, they called themselves Feed the Need, and they started these monthly mobile distributions. So my good friend Melissa Burns, Andy Lappin were highly involved in, I know you're smiling, those are such great people, highly involved in kind of creating that group. And then when I was laid off from my normal job, the pandemic hit, I needed something to fill my time, so I started volunteering every week with the Feed the Need group, and after about 3 weeks I said, hey, can you put me on this committee? I really want to do this. So here we are 3 years later. I found myself kind of now organizing most of those distributions, and that led me to Melissa Burns, a friendship with her, and then also a position under her with the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan, so life is full circle. She's now my supervisor, but that got me involved into this world of food banking. So we have been bringing in these trucks in not only Alpena County, but the 22 counties that the food bank serves non-stop, especially since the pandemic has affected everyone.
Because you affect people as far south as Flint or Bay City, correct?
Correct, yeah, so the food bank is based in Genesee County. It started out as just a 4-man operation just in Genesee County, and now it's grown to, just our department is twice that size. So it has increased tenfold, and it serves everywhere north of, the thumb in Genesee County, and then up to the bridge, essentially, and then east of 75, so it's really grown. Covers the same geographic region that NEMSCA does. So,
and how many during these food distributions? How many people are coming to this?
Yeah, so it's pretty incredible. There are, depending on the size of the truck and the area that the truck is located. For Alpena example, we're getting anywhere between 375 and 425 families every month. So that's just families. That's not including the total number served. That's just the number of people coming through that line to pick up food this time of year.
And I've been there and I've helped volunteer at some of these events, and it seems like it's all socioeconomic statuses, really. I mean, I wouldn't say some of the higher earning individuals in the community, but it seems like, especially with the families, like single parents and a lot of elderly need that are coming. And you also do things where you deliver them, some of the extras that are done, you take them to some of these senior living, assisted living homes and places too, right?
Yeah, so we do get a variety of all kinds of individuals that come through the line of all different social classes, occupations. We are finding that most of them have income, if not the majority. things are expensive right now, and I tell everyone who comes to volunteer or comes through the line that we aren't the judge. Our job is not to judge. Our job is to just get the food out. We don't ask questions. We want to give a hand up, not a handout. We want to give a hand up to those folks who just need a little extra on their table. And that's what it has come to be. And you see everyone from all walks of life. We don't know anyone's story, but everybody needs a little bit of help from time to time. So we really do see a little bit of everyone, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see that variety. You make connections and you learn about people and their stories, which is great. And then the super bonus is when things are wrapped up. If we have things left over, Boys and Girls Club or other, the Friendship Room or other agencies in the area benefit from that kind of stuff too. So it's nice to be able to offer. I currently have 6 dozen cookies and 2 bags of Dum Dums ready to give to you to take to the Boys and Girls Club. So left over from a distribution.
Awesome.
So it's nice to be able to do that.
Well, and it's much needed in the community. Now, Amanda, with NEMSCA, I know you have a big scope as well.
Yes.
A big service area. How many people? Well, a little bit about the food program that you run, and how many people that impacts as well.
So we're currently operating 2 different programs. Our first program that I wanted to talk about is our senior program, which has been rebranded, so we are now calling that the Golden Grocery Giveaway. The formal name is CSFP, which stands for Commodity Supplemental Food Program. Whole lot of words, that's part of the rebranding process, why we wanted it simple. So that is for seniors age 60 and up that meet specific income eligibility, which all of that information can be found on our website or by calling me directly, which I can give my contact information later, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, we serve an 11-county region, multiple distribution sites every single month. The only time that we're not out doing distribution is if we have a school closing in that area. So rain, snow, ice, all the conditions were out there similar to the food bank. And then we are also supplementing the food that our seniors are getting with our Food Boost program. So that is our other program that we recently rebranded. So now every month seniors are getting additional food in their monthly boxes, opposed to a quarterly distribution that was occurring.
Yeah.
So super happy about this transition. A lot of pieces going into that. And with the Food Boost program, we have now partnered with 38 different pantry locations, some of which the food bank also partners with. So more food is going out into the community to those who need it, which is huge right now because a lot of the extra added COVID benefits are stopping come March 1st.
Yeah.
So it's the best time for this to be in place for everyone in our community.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's all the time we have for the first segment, but we're going to continue this conversation. Please stay with us after the break as we continue the conversation about the food resources that we have in the community. Welcome back, everyone, as we continue this conversation about the food assistance and resources that we have in the community. And today, as we know from the first segment, Amanda and Courtney are here with NEMSCA and the Food Bank to talk about some of those resources that we have. Amanda, just to kind of continue from the first segment, talking about the 11 county outreach that you have with NEMSCA, and some of the after the expiration of some of these benefits that have positively impacted the community and the residents and the people who need these services. What are some maybe creative ways or ways that after March that you're going to try to employ to keep the level of distributions at the level they are?
So we have a few things that we're doing. Part of it through our Food Boost program is the establishment of 38 pantry partners through our 11 county region. So the beautiful idea behind it is once everybody has received their shipment of food in February, on our website, you'll be able to find all of those pantry locations. So if you're in Alpena, you'll be able to see that St. Vincent's is now one of our pantry partners and what days and times you can visit them, which is Tuesday and Thursday. So beautiful thing, super easy that community partners such as Courtney or DHHS, or just say for instance you, Brad, if you needed to find your local pantry, pop on there, you can find out where you need to go. The other benefit is we are partnering with our school success program in our schools. So our schools will now have access to the food. So that way if a kiddo needs some extra food to go home with them, our school success liaisons will be able to help them that way. So that's two of the things that we're doing. And we're also now offering home delivery services. So if you know somebody that is a homebound senior, or maybe they just had a surgery, we can assist them with getting food to their residents as well. That's a partnership with our volunteer program at NEMSCA.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, the partnership with the school is so important because there's so
Absolutely.
many, you know, I mean, just in the profession that I'm in, working with families and young people in the community, you know, sometimes parents are too proud to ask for help.
Absolutely.
You know, they're trying their best to work and, you know, and show these young people that, you know, you can get by with, you know, having a job and doing these things, but sometimes we just all need help,
Absolutely.
regardless if you're working full-time or part-time or trying to make ends meet. Well, you know, getting right with the kids. Kids are very honest, and being inside that school has got to be just wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, and Courtney, with the food bank as well, what are some of the ways, you know, that you're thinking as an organization to kind of keep those distribution levels where they are as well?
Yeah, so it's a goal of ours to increase our pantries that offer client choice, meaning I could go in and select the items that I was taking home with me, or we're also working on increasing the number of mobiles that we're sending out. So that semi-truck that comes to Alpena once a month, we're trying to increase those trucks going out into areas that are maybe untapped at the moment with gas prices being high and these this additional assistance not even being rolled back, just being cut abruptly. We are looking at possibly offering more home delivery as well. So we're growing a partnership with DoorDash, which is really exciting, and it's even going to eventually make its way into areas like ours that don't have as much going on. So we're going to be able to add that DoorDash program eventually down the road and be able to deliver right to the folks that need it, right to their doorstep, and we're going to achieve that through DoorDash. So we're excited about that.
Wow, that's really great. And you also mentioned something working with Carrie Badgerow and doing some food distributions that are in between other distributions.
Yeah, correct. So Carrie Badgerow is kind of like everyone's right-hand gal over at DHS, and she is working so diligently on a good way to reach these individuals once these resources are rolled back. So we kind of have come up with, in partnership with our HSCC group, the list and the names and phone numbers of all the pantries, you know, including entities like NEMSCA who are able to also direct individuals where they need to go. So any pantries that offer client choice or drive-through services, little pantries that might not even be known in our town. There are churches that offer pantries. There are churches that offer hot meals, soup kitchen style. So just compiling all of those resources into kind of like a one-pager that she's able to get out to her families that we can distribute in the community. That's just number one, going to help get the word out and increase awareness that way.
Oh, that's excellent. You know, and we're talking about all this food assistance. I mean, I'm sure these boxes of food, you know, aren't just full of like little Debbie snack cakes and, you know, and a whole bunch of like starches and breads. I'm sure there's a lot of different produce options, milk, dairy, all of that, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with the food bank, a lot of the food that we distribute to our community comes in via donations of our retail partners. So Walmart, Meijer, Aldi, those entities will send us quality items like fresh milk or produce, or, I mean, we've got an array from fresh to shelf stable, and we do also work with USDA foods like NEMSCA does, so it's a great variety, and there are still sometimes little Debbie cakes in the mix, so everyone needs a treat.
The healthy granola bars, right?
Yeah, there you go.
You know, and with all these wonderful things that both of your organizations are doing and that you're spearheading at your organizations, I'm sure it takes people power to make this happen.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure you're looking for volunteers to help, correct?
Yes. So since we have expanded what we're doing with our senior program at distributions, we are looking for volunteers to come and help add those extra bonus items into the boxes, into people's vehicles, because, you know, we have things like 5-pound bags of flour or ground bison or these added items that we can't necessarily immediately put in a box because it's then too heavy for our staff to lift and put into vehicles. So we are looking for an increase of volunteers in all of our 11 county region, also to help us with home delivery. Home delivery, I don't ever want to tell a person, hey, we can't get your food to you, I want to make sure that we're able to meet those needs of anybody who needs that food delivered to their home. So if anybody is interested in volunteering, I recommend heading over to NEMSCA's website and clicking on the volunteer tab to find out more and reach out to the volunteer department to start being screened and hopefully come on board to help us with our mission.
Awesome, and that's MECSA.org.
NEMCSA.
CSA.
Tricky.
Yes,
Sorry.
very tricky. NEMCSA.org.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And same with the food bank. People can volunteer by coming onto the website or social media.
Locally, people can volunteer in Alpena by visiting Feed the Need Alpena on our Facebook page or shooting me an email.
Excellent.
For additional opportunities.
Excellent. Well, that's all the time that we have. It went by fast
fast.
again, didn't
Yes,
it?
it did.
Well,
We
I
could
think,
be here all day.
Yeah.
Right? And we could just, I think we just need to
need
bring
the
some
pizza
coffee.
and-
Where's my cup
Yeah.
of coffee?
Well,
Next time,
mimosas.
next time.
They won't bring me mimosas on the show. But anyway, it was wonderful having both of you on here talking about the wonderful things that you're doing, and the resources that you're bringing to this community. It takes, strong people with a great heart to want to help the people like you're both doing. And I personally can't thank you enough. And I know there's a lot of people out there watching, that would thank you as well. And hopefully we drum up some volunteers,
That'd be awesome.
and people come and, want to help with these events to make all this happen. So thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all today for joining us as we continue to endeavor the world of nonprofits and the world around us. Have a great day and stay tuned for the ACC segment that's coming up next.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I would like to take our time together today to talk about a couple of things that have happened at ACC this week. At this time of the year, mid-winter, we often run into bad weather. And we film on a Friday morning, and weather last night was pretty bad. Weather on Monday night this week was also bad. So people often ask me, what's the decision, matrix here for deciding whether or not to close school. And so I want to share that thinking with you because ultimately I'm the one who makes that decision. So part of it's more complicated than you might think. We've talked, or I've talked periodically about the footprint that the college serves, and it is large, and it extends, in terms of the K-12s we work in, from Newberry up to the north, which is west of the Sioux, up in the UP, all the way down to Au Gres, and as far west as Joburg, and really we have a fair amount of work in inland lakes, north of Petoskey, on the west side of I-75. So it's a big footprint, and the weather within that range can be very variable. And so what can be tolerable in the city of Alpena, if it's 2 or 3 degrees colder to the west or to the south or to the north, can make lethal driving conditions, particularly this winter where it seems like the main issue is ice, not so much major snowfalls, snowstorms. So how we do it, our Director of Facilities, Dr. Nick Breggy, gets out of bed real early, and he will get in his truck and drive around. He lives in Alpena, he and his family, and drive the roads. And oftentimes, it boils down to what are the country roads and the side roads like? What are the main roads like? And those can be 2 different things because the main roads are often salted and cleaned first. And what are the neighboring K-12s doing? Those are really 3 of the bits of information I get from Nick. And then from the south, we have our VP for instruction, Steve Fosgard, is commuting from the south. So we get a read on what the conditions in and around Iosco County are. And those can be very different. So in the span of about 15 or 20 minutes, we have to make a decision. And it's hard to make the right decision on this. There's a continuum of thought on this. One is that the college is preparing people for an enrollment, and in some cases, in many cases, our students are not employment, and in many cases, our students are employed. Very seldom do businesses close due to bad weather. So there's the argument the college should never close because, that's not how, the workplace and the employment sector deal with bad weather. I get that. Then there's the other side that says many of our students are K-12 students, and some of them travel to main campus. Not all of them do, but many do, from a ways off. Rogers City, Alcona, Hillman, and that driving can be, in some cases, lethal. So those are kind of the bookends of the process. I'm aware of both arguments and sympathetic to them. I've come down over the years on the side of student safety. If it looks like the roads are really, really bad and people could get hurt coming in, I don't think it builds their character necessarily for them to get hurt coming to campus. We'll have to make that call. And sometimes what the conditions are like at 6 o'clock in the morning when we have to make that decision change by 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. And so the roads look a lot different when it warms up and the sun comes out, if it does. But rest assured, we're trying to do the best we can, and we're trying to protect really the lives and the welfare of our students and staff. We will try to do the right thing and thread that needle, and that's not the easiest thing to do. So enough on that topic. The governor, completely shifting gears here, the governor presented her budget request this week. It had some interesting things in it. This, of course, doesn't mean that it will become law, but it's now with the governor and both the House and Senate in Lansing in Democratic hands. It's likely that most of what she wants, she will get. What she was proposing for community colleges, including ACC, is a 4% increase, which is pretty good. So we get now about just under $7 million from the state annually for operations. So a 4% increase on that would be helpful. This would, of course, dovetail nicely with the labor agreements we have and the cost of living compensation. Much of our budget on the expense side is personnel, so 4% aligns pretty closely with what our contracts indicate for the upcoming year. There's also a piece in there, an additional piece called ITEM, which could be potentially very helpful. ITEM stands for Infrastructure, Technology, Equipment, and Maintenance. And she's proposing to distribute about $59 million among the 28 community colleges based on a formula. The formula has many factors, but the size, amount of enrollment is a big piece of it. So usually we get about 1.5% of what's distributed. So this could be a pretty sizable amount that we could apply to technology, which is an ongoing large expense for every institution, including ACC's. So we'll keep you posted. Budget year starts October 1, so there's quite a bit of time between now and this getting nailed down, but it's a key piece of college business moving forward. So thank you, folks. Have a great week, and we will see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host Bradley Summers and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production. All rights reserved.